Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is round three, match three, part two of the HL IASP charity tournament. In this matchup, we have TAW versus the 107th. We're fighting on Hurricane Force over the Scar. I'm joined here with First Lieutenant Rob.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Super fun round one, huh, Sparrow?
Holy crap, it was so close. Honestly, I'm excited for the matchup. Now that it's flipped, this match could go either way. These teams are very evenly matched.
Yeah, so we're actually seeing a similar armor setup from 107th, medium, heavy, and instead of a light vehicle, they go with the recon this time. Um, and we'll see.
It looks like TAW is only running a heavy right now. So we'll see
So,
how that works out for them. But they do have a bit of the advantage for the armor on this.
yeah. So I will say I'll record from the safe free line this time if you want to get
I'm already
the
there.
fast. Let's just switch it up a little bit.
Already there.
And we are approaching 20 seconds till warm up time is over, and we'll see. It looks like 107 is putting both their troop transport and supply truck right down the middle. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of artillery ability to disrupt the initial push.
That's for sure. They do have two supply trucks this time.
Yep,
The
same
commanders.
for 107th. And we're off. Looks like 107th is taking a very direct approach. All armor, assets, troops, everything in a convoy going directly to the Scar. What are we seeing from TAW there, Sparrow?
We see there's a supply truck moving into Cottrail. It's just gone off road a little bit. I don't know if it got stuck or something. Just not what you want to see right now. So that's a little confused by the airplane noises. I didn't think you could get down supplies that early.
Yep.
But yeah, it looks
So,
like. Go ahead.
yeah, I like what I'm seeing from 107th. So they place supplies and they put their troop transport up in the north, and they're putting their supplies in the secondary garrison. So they have two assaulting garrisons set up from 107th to try to push into the point. Meanwhile, their armor and recon support's on their way up. Well, TAW looks like there might be a little bit behind the 107th for the race to the cap, as we see 107th get the early cap progress going in their direction.
That's for sure. I see the Puma pushing up there. So I think they're looking to try and take out the supply truck.
Yeah,
Which
as we
I've
see.
actually lost track of.
Yeah, he moved south towards Siegfried. Meanwhile, we're seeing some long-range armor engagements in between TW and TAW as a massive spawn from 107th are starting to push into the point.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see. Now, TAW does have a heavy tank set up behind the point. Now, the question comes, is it going to take out a lot of this infantry pushing in or not?
Meanwhile, TW's supply truck seems to have been made by the Puma, so we might
Yeah,
see
it just took
another.
out.
That was spooky.
Yeah, I
Except,
think there's somebody in that truck. There's another truck rolling down the hill. It's a transport, so.
yeah, so TAW loses their supply truck, but their troop transport's rolling in hot. So we're probably going to see a clash of more or less massive spawn waves here in a moment.
They've got a lot of garrisons set up on TAW already. They've got 3 down.
Yep, we got 2 from 107th as they start to push into the point. Looks like TW is going to win this early cap race for the Scar.
Yeah. The Allies' advantage on the Scar here is just the fact that it's so close to their front line that it's easy for them to just assault from.
And I think there's a pretty significant advantage with this map layout. With Cold Trail being right on the Scar, as I always say, that lets you play your defense while you're playing offense. So I won't be surprised if 107 has a hard time getting in on Cold Trail as TW starts to make their way in to the Scar. But even still, the armored play from 107th is still just dominant as I'm assuming what's a 76 in the back line of TW is getting schwacked by multiple armor assets, and there it goes.
And is doing the same thing they've done before, where they have this kind of constant line as they push up and through. So they've got some forces in the north trying to do some stuff. Their commander looks like they're trying to set up a flanking garrison behind them.
Yeah.
As
Meanwhile, we have 107th starting to see what the recon can do to push out, but seems like we have a pretty much a frontline on frontline engagement. I still think one thing that would be really cool is if the game made it so you couldn't capture the middle point for the first like 10 to 15 minutes of the round. I think that would be a very, very good improvement. So you do just fight over a true neutral space for that first 10-15 minutes until it's finally unlocked and you're able to capture it.
it would really probably come down to who has better map control at that point, because if you're 107th, you do have this constant line, but it looks like the commander's getting in from behind, unless critical fail could take out that garrison, which it looks like he's doing. Or at the very least, he's locking it out.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're seeing TAW getting some pretty good map control coming in around from the Siegfried line direction. As they have two support guys working together, I'm assuming to try to get a garrison down here in the south.
I'm surprised that recon vehicle's still up.
Well, it's tough, man. If you only field one armor as TW versus 3 armor from 107th, if there's no, armor, the recon vehicle's super easy to take out with any kind of other armored asset, but the armor superiority just going all in 107th's favor.
It looks like some of the people from 107th have made it across the river and are starting to push their way up the hill.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually rotate towards the cultural fight if you wanna keep an eye on Scar.
You got it. Yeah, it looks like, even more people than I thought have actually made it up that hill.
Yeah, meanwhile, TW does not have much to any presence right now on the Called Trail. As we
They're
see,
more pushed off in the front of it, but
yeah, meanwhile, we see Mini Dude and crew making their way around from the radio tower position overlooking Called Trail. This could be a dangerous position for TAW if that assault goes unnoticed.
for sure. I think with how TAW's playing now, they're not going to lose Caltrail like they lost Salient before.
True. I mean, right now we see Spectre creeping up on TAW's armor asset around radio tower, so we might see this armor asset take an L here pretty soon. A Spectre gets in behind and armor seems to be unknown. Oh, but I think Spectre has to try to go for the mine game. I actually don't think he has an AT. So he's trying to sneak in behind to place a mine. Let's take a closer look. He's like, hey buddy, I got a mine for you. Shh, it's okay. I'm your friend. Spectre sneaking in for that mine placement. Oh, and he put it down just near that 76, just not quite enough. Oh, it looks like he might. Oh, has he been spotted? Oh, he's been spotted. Oh no, Spectre! Oh, and there he goes. Sneaky play from Spectre.
I've got a recon plane going over from the TAW guys, and they have a garrison set up in the north of the point. So it'll be interesting. And they have a garrison at the south. They are pincering this point right now.
And we see cap progress going towards TAW as 107th looks like they just had a massive redeploy onto the Scar with their most of their progress up north has been reacted to by TAW.
TAW is definitely going for a pincer movement from the north and south of the point. And we got a bombing run going over the point right now. This could be big.
It's tough though.
They could.
Scar's a tough point to hit with that bombing run though. With so much cover, it's hard to really get much value.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's
7,
some pretty good
8.
value.
That's extremely good value. It took out more people on the hill and is allowing the TAW forces to advance from this north side of it easier. But it looks like Sergeant... what's the name of the Egyptian capital? Because that's his
Calypso
name.
or whatever. Cairo?
Cairo. There we go. Thank you.
Bruh. You're killing me, man. You're killing me, Smalls.
Not my fault you don't know geography.
Not my fault you don't know how to pronunciate words.
Hey, man, this is an established trend here. All right.
You know,
Have you
that's
heard
true.
me give roll call before? All right. I'll butcher anybody's name.
You're like, as long as I butcher everyone's name equally, it's fine.
Nobody should feel excluded from my butchering.
Meanwhile, TW has some pretty good defense going in and around the radio tower as Mini Dude and crew trying to get some offensive pressure, but having a hard time with at least one section of TAW really trying to sniff them out.
Yeah, TAW is kind of taking over the hill again. While most of the squad leads from 107 seem to all be clustered together, which, in my opinion, is a mistake. They should really spread out.
A lot of that clustering is a move of desperation, though, right? It's when you get into that difficult situation where you just aren't able to quite push out.
So this is interesting. Either TAW has neglected this, or the 107th have really done some work, but they have 0 nodes up right now.
Ooh, that's a mistake.
That's a major mistake. They're doing all right on resources right now, but they really need to rectify that situation.
Yeah, meanwhile, we got some of 107th forces making their way into Call Trail. But 107th is or TW is there on defense. It seems like it, you know, the one squad size element trying to attack Call Trail is having a hard time with pressure coming from both sides from TW's defensive force.
Yeah, it looks like Lucas and his squad are kind of pushing in to try and take that point. But there is a Tiger or a Panther set up on the road south of the Scar. I'm going to take this moment of silence to thank both teams for participating in this tournament. Without your guys' help, we would not have raised as much money as we did. Last I checked, it was $3,769.
Which means we can only donate in increments of 100 moving forward.
Yes.
Anywho.
You gotta keep that nice, sweet number at the end. So, just the overwhelming support for this has been, we're extremely grateful for it, and just want to say thanks.
For sure, and we're starting to see Mini Dude get his way in on the, kind of sneak his way in. Oh, wow! Ironheart just took like 3 rounds without going down. Got the luck of the draw there.
Yeah, there's a major top push coming from the hills. Classic Dave seems to be holding out on his own. There, all by himself. Ace the Wood, I think, is going for the melee kill here. Maybe. No, they've just run past each other. All right.
Classic. Meanwhile, 107th hasn't seemed to really have much success penetrating into Cold Trail, with that offensive defense really doing the number for TW.
They're not really using their defensive point as an offensive point, though. It seems like most of what they've done is like pushed in from. They did have a push from the south that seems to have been stomped out, but they still have this push from the north, from the hill, just push it on to the Scar to try and take out any resistance. But we do see a lot of the
107th or TW?
we do see a lot of the 107th kind of clustered on the hard point. Yeah, the commander for TAW is just using that arty to pound the point right now.
Meanwhile, we're getting the airhead from 107th, seeing if they can't get some more maneuvering onto Cal Trail from both directions now. Which is a tricky decision, because most of their outposts are in danger for 107th. They don't have, I would say, defining control over the point.
Yeah, this is interesting. I didn't realize that you could place a tiger in some of the spaces that they've done it. They have a nice holdout position for this tiger on point, but it's kind of difficult because I could see the TAW guys spawning in behind it as Snow is just pushing in to get around this tiger and probably shooting the butt at point blank range.
Meanwhile, we're starting to see a bit of an offensive materialize from 107th as they've gotten a little bit of a control over the radio tower position on the high ground around Call Trail, and they're also getting a garrison and a position around Lumberyard. The big question is going to be, is 107th defense going to be able to hold out on Scar long enough for this assault to materialize? TW has been playing a lockdown defense here in the back.
Yeah, they've been calling out those hot garrisons and outposts like they should. Mainly in text chat. They're probably doing it in voice chat, but we can't hear voice chat, so take that as you will.
Meanwhile, we're starting to see at least
we got a bombing run coming in somewhere.
On the point from 107th, as 107th has actually lost all their outposts and garrisons on the Scar. So
that's probably why the bombing run's coming in.
So we're about to see a good old-fashioned cap race here. This is going to be a very desperate situation for both teams. As 107th is starting to collapse in on the Call Trail, TAW is collapsing in on the Scar. This is good, could go either way, as we suspect to see cap progress here on the Call Trail very shortly, as TAW's defense has yet to be able to really react to the Lumberyard push. It has not been properly identified as cap progress starts to go on Call Trail.
Is there a reinforce on the Scar? Because it looks like all I see is TAW on point. They don't have any squad leads there, so it's a little bit
I mean, meanwhile, we have significant cap pressure from 107th as now it's about squad on squad action as both teams attempt to start to take Call Trail.
And where are these squad leads at?
I think they all just redeployed on defense, honestly, as Call Trail is about 50% capped. But we do see cap progress on Scar as well.
Perhaps it's just Jimbaya, the hero from last match, Lex Superior, King Exton, and Dutch Avenger on point from TAW.
Meanwhile, it looks like TAW is starting to be able to put pressure back against 107th as they try to push into the scar to Cultural rather. It seems like 100 TAW does have that numbers advantage to kind of push them out. As some key gunfights going in the direction of TAW. Oh, what? Massive AT rocket from Anime Snow just taking out about 4 members of 107th to basically shut down their attack. Woohoo! That was a money round from an AT gun from Anime Snow. What a play as we see Cultural go firmly back into the hands of TAW. A reinforce has been placed by 107th onto the scar as well.
Yeah, more and more people are consolidating on the scar itself. And all I hear is machine gun fire from MG42. Just rat-a-tatting away on point. And we got a bombing run from the top forces, but it doesn't seem like it's going to hit its mark, as it's a little bit too far to the south.
Meanwhile, Cultural is tipping back into the 107th's hands. As we have some pretty equal firefights going on in and around Cultural. Looks like 107th is once again getting cap progress on Cultural as TAW's force has largely been extinguished around Cultural. So interesting decision here. I think TAW is committed all in on their defense, and it's going to come down to probably who gets their reinforced at that most opportune moment to put them back in the position of control as Cultural is steadily moving against TAW.
That'll be interesting to see here. I think TAW just doesn't, since they weren't able to get a squad lead or anybody on point that could have that constant spawning presence on Scar, it just, they've got 2 people left, and Lieutenant Touchdown Jesus is pushing in on them as they're just holed up in this bunker complex as it's getting smoked out by one of the Arty teams. I can't tell which.
Meanwhile, Cultural, it looks like, has gotten some much needed reinforcements by TAW as Hotel Squad from 107 does everything they can to keep that pressure up. But might be a game of numbers here as TAW starts to clinch in and around Cultural and push 107th off the point.
Yeah, it looks like Scar is going to go back to the 107th here. TAW just doesn't have the presence required to take it.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm not surprised to see Cultural probably going back into the hands of TAW as well, as both teams give up on their cap, and now we see TAW King X-Ton has been able to wipe the only or most aggressive attacking outpost in position on for the 107th, which will likely snuff out this first wave of assault as more squads come in from 107th to try to reinforce the attack on Cultural.
It's just 2 members of TAW in the hard point itself. A few squad leads left. Tosuma and We Like Lead are kind of pushing in there as We Like Lead just takes out Whiskey. Yeah, I can't tell if the smoke is helping the defense or hurting them.
Meanwhile, we're seeing TAW King X-Ton really doing a number on the 107th assault as he swiped an outpost and is continuing to take down a significant number of 107 forces as he drops another medic and an MG. Wow, I'm gonna keep following TAW Kingston putting on a show for us here.
This is pretty surprising. There are 3 red zone garrisons behind the Scar to try and support this assault onto the Scar itself.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like the assault on Cold Trail has been successfully countered by TAW forces as they begin to wrap up.
Yeah, TAW's strategy thus far seemed to be just surround and encapsulate uh, the enemy force, and it's been working as they push slowly onto this point.
107th still is committing a fair amount of troops, much more than TAW is willing to commit to defense. As we see Cold Trail once again going back towards the 107th. TW is starting to get in a really dangerous position, just not having the numbers really on point. As 107th gets another 2 squads positioned in the strong point, I think this might be enough for TW to win that cap. However, massive development for TW as armor support comes on the scene. Be interesting to see if this is enough to give TW just enough time to get back into position. As Cultural is steadily going against TW. Unless TW does a very aggressive redeploy, I think we're going to see Cultural fall into the hands of the 107th. And there it goes. So 102.53. So they will have to hold this for, let's see, 47.53.
Yeah, that is unfortunate for TAW. They lose all their red zone garrisons, and they have no garrisons to really help this assault.
Yep. So you can let Todd know that it's to 47 minutes and 53 seconds.
And that's just unfortunate. I see 107 just get a massive spawn wave on Cal Trail.
Yep, so we'll see if TW is able to put together another really good counterattack as they did round 1 in their efforts to recapture Call Trail.
I feel like Cal Trail is going to be a bit harder since they're not squeezed up against the wall here. It's going to be a bit harder for TAW to actually quench this cap.
So it looks like 107th has gotten a very powerful presence. Just a heads up, if you do see cap progress on Mossbach, that is a recon element. So let's just monitor that situation. Doesn't look like there's any cap progress at the moment, but if that changes.
Yeah, just let me know. I don't think we're going to see the same issues we were seeing with Salient.
Yeah.
TAW again is setting up garrisons around the point to try and assault it from different approaches. They've got one they're setting up in the north, and maybe one that they're going to set up in the south here.
Yeah, and 107 seems pretty content not to push too far off the point, giving TW a lot of buffer room to start making their way uncontested into Cold Trail.
Yeah, it looks like the 107 guys are pushing up to that radar station just north of Caltrail. Try and capture it, as that is a...
Key
I don't know if
strategic
it's a key...
location.
It's a good location. I don't know if it's a key location to defend Caltrail from, but... That's a recon unit, you said?
Yes, so that cap progress is valid, so just let TW know they must respond to that cap progress, and it is a recon element.
Yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes being so high up, but there is a lot of elevation on this map. Just
Right?
take advantage of.
So TW has reacted, and we're getting a pretty clear front line being established here by both teams. Ugh. So this is where I think this is a tough call, right, for TW. Which way do you want to attack from? They are trying to attack through the north from that radio tower position, but 107th is responding quite well. This is definitely going to be a tricky one to retake for TW.
Yeah, 107 is just able to spread out their forces a lot more than they were on Salient. So it is an extremely tricky point for them to be able to defend. Do they have garrison set up around Caltrail yet, or no?
Yeah, they have two. One on point, one in the south.
They might want to try and push up to that radar tower just to get another garrison down.
Yeah, I imagine they have armor support coming in as well. That's what I suspect they're trying to do at the moment. TAW is really making a. It looks like TAW is taking a rather wide approach, as they do start to get some map control, with forces controlling the lumberyard as well as owning the recon tower. It will be interesting to see if we can see a repeat from last match, and as TW attempts to recapture Cold Trail.
Yeah, the front line has kind of moved a bit more to the north, it seems. I'm going to take this moment of silence to just say thank you to both teams for participating in this charity tournament. We couldn't have done it without you guys, and the generosity shown has been overwhelming and very much appreciated. So thank you once again.
Meanwhile, we see TAW is actually 107th doesn't have much of a force on Cultural itself, as TAW seems to be finding a gap in the front line defenses.
Yeah, it seems like 107th is pushing more up to the north side to try and take that radar dish, but this has left a gap in the defense as Lucatus and his squad are able to push in. I think we like Led might be shortly behind, but Lucatus might be sending up his OP right now.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like Sergeant Cairo is calling out not to get too spread out in the middle and not guard that critical central approach, as TAW is taking advantage.
Yeah. Now it looks like 107th is trying to. They're going to try and capitalize on the fact that there's nobody really behind TAW's forces to come in from behind them and take them out.
Meanwhile, we are getting cap progress on Cultural from TAW. Looks like 107th might have spread a little bit too thin in the middle as TW starts to threaten Cultural's cappers.
That's for sure. Looks like there's a tank battle going on, but it's all about these infantry fights on point.
Right, and this is exactly what we intended with this 15-minute kind of mercy rule, is that it gives that team that does get that last point capped pretty good opportunity to recapture. It is hard to play defense in Hell Let Loose. If you're always just trying to keep your few spawns from getting noticed, all it takes is a one or two guys to break through your lines and swipe you out to really give you a hard time.
We like Lead is now on point. In a trench system, it looks like.
So a big question right now is the resource management from TW. Do they have enough for a bombing run here? Because that could be
No,
a
they do not.
massive difference.
They have 9 munitions and 80 fuel, and that's it. If that tank gets taken out by TAW, they might redeploy them as infantry.
Meanwhile, we're seeing a lot of winning gunfights from TAW in this center point. So we might start to see a little bit of pressure here on 107th to resecure that middle zone.
Yeah, I think TAW not making any nodes at the beginning has kind of like bit them in the butt a little bit because they've just been taking down those resources, and now that they aren't generating any, except for, well, I would say manpower, but manpower goes away when people give up. So it's definitely not helping.
So we get down to about 4 minutes or so. So
What time is it gonna?
47:53. So we're at the 4 minute mark.
47:53. We're at the 3-minute mark.
Correct. So TAW is gonna have to make it happen here real soon with just under 3 minutes left in regulation to get back in and capture culture.
Yeah, it looks like TAW have kind of done it. They have surrounded the 107th here and kind of pushed them on the point. It would be interesting to see if they... Oh, they don't have enough fuel now.
Now we've gone under the 2 minute mark with no cat progress on Cultural, and I think TAW might be out of time.
Yeah, they don't have resources to do a bombing run or anything like that. If this tank gets taken out, that's basically the last of their resources, as they've used all of it in trying to take this point back. Spectre's coming in behind this tank.
Front row. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, the tank's getting taken out.
Oh, it took one round to the rear.
I gotta say, SpaghettiOs, kind of overrated. I like Chef Boyardee a little bit better.
No, you do you. I'm a fan of Chef Boyardee myself. I don't think anyone though walks around saying SpaghettiOs is a superior food, to be honest. But I could be wrong.
That's a fair point. I mean, if you're gonna compare canned pasta, it's
So I'm
like
gonna
really
do
between
the score check.
SpaghettiOs. All right.
So we get in under the minute mark here.
I mean that TAW tank has a pretty high combat effectiveness score, but
Needs help.
needs help.
Alrighty, so I'll give you the 10-second or so countdown. Alright, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's call it there.